It's a new year, and though it's a fresh start, we may still be dealing with the same problems. One of them being procrastination. So first things first, what actually is procrastination? So procrastination is the act of putting off important tasks in favour of something that is more enjoyable or less important. We've all done it, and it's quite common when we're a student and we have an essay to write, we have homework to do, or we have an exam to study for, that distraction takes hold. A quick look at our phone turns into a 2-hour scroll session. And I actually think that banishing procrastination completely is actually not feasible, it's not really natural, and it's not something that we should really be looking to do. I don't feel like it's actually helpful for us to do that, and quite often procrastination can be a message from our bodies telling us something. If we're procrastinating every time we need to do a task that has a slight bit of difficulty, then that is an issue, and we need to look deeper and put our focus and attention into why it is that we're doing that. Are you burnt out? Is the task that you're doing, which is part of something bigger, actually even meant for you? Constantly putting off tasks could be a part of a much bigger picture that needs to be addressed. If, however, you are struggling with procrastination in the kind of more general and common way, for example, you don't want to do the cleaning, or there's a big task that you don't really feel like doing right now, you don't want to actually go and study when you really should, then there are things that you can do to help combat this. The number one thing that I'm going to say is to start small. And a lot of people instead say start big. They say go for the big task. But your procrastination is starting because of this fear of the big task. So instead, try going for something smaller to begin with. And this is why people say making your bed in the morning is so important, because it puts you into that frame of mind of productivity. It puts you into that flow state of doing work. Once a couple of tasks are ticked off on your to-do list and you get that satisfying feeling, you feel that energy and you feel ready to go, and you get into like a role of just wanting to do more and more. The second thing that I think that you really need to do is to create a to-do list the night before. And I have found that this has been so much better than waking up and just kind of doing whatever for a bit, not knowing what I'm going to do that day, and then slowly getting around to doing my to-do list. When you wake up and it's already there and you're ready to go, then you just kind of already have this sense of feeling of like, okay, let's go, let's get it done, it's ready, it's there, it's waiting for me. Something that you should try and do is to use a timer when you're doing your tasks, and to kind of go into doing your tasks with the mentality of having breaks and using a timer. A lot of people like the Pomodoro method, which is 20 minutes of work and then 5 minutes of a break. For me personally, I prefer a little bit longer, just because I find that when I'm 20 minutes in, I'm kind of just within the flow state, and I'm kind of, I'm right there and wanting to do it, and I'm in the flow. And so having that 5-minute break at that point is a little bit not helpful for me, because it takes me out of that flow state. But try a few different timing methods and see what works best for you. For me personally, I really like to just set 1 hour on my phone and then go and do the task. And then I feel like I've just put all my effort into what I need to do for that full 1 hour. And once you set 1 full hour with no distractions, it is amazing how much you actually can get done. Something else that you should try and do is to utilize apps. I really liked using some study apps when I was a student. One in particular was called Flora. A lot of you have probably seen it already, but it's basically where you have a plant on your phone on this app, and if you go off that app, then it starts to die, it just dies basically. And so you don't want to kill the plant, and so therefore you don't go off it. And I think that this is really helpful. Certain apps like this can really help with making sure that you don't go onto social media, that you don't go onto those apps that are distracting to you. Similarly, if you're also doing it online on your laptop, then setting website blockers. There's something called Stay Focused, but there's many different website blockers that you can use to help you stay focused and and motivated. If you find that this isn't really working still, then just literally deleting your apps or completely turning off your phone for the period that you want to do your focused work for is what I find to be really helpful. Something that I'm really working on this year is changing my self-talk, and this can be really important with procrastination because negative self-talk really influences the way that we act, the way our brain works, the way that we do everything, and it influences our emotions, literally everything. So something that you really need to try and not do is to talk to yourself badly, especially when you're trying to do work and you're already in that mode of feeling, you're just not feeling it, you are going towards procrastination. Telling yourself that you're lazy is not going to help. If you think that you're a lazy person, you are going to be a lazy person. And therefore you need to change the way that you're talking to yourself to be more positive. And something that you need to try and do is do this before and during the task. So tell yourself beforehand that you can do this. Like, of course, you can do hard things. And during it, tell yourself, yes, this is hard, this is difficult, but I am capable of doing hard things. The next thing that you need to do is have your goal visual. So you need to have it written down why it is that you're doing what you're doing. And this is something that if you're just absolutely in the depths of procrastination, you're just really struggling, but you have to do work, then you just need to write down and have it visual, have it present, like literally stick it on your wall, why it is that you're doing what you're doing. What is this task in aid of? Is it to go to your dream university? Is it to provide for your family? Is it so that you can get a promotion? Why is it that you're doing what you're doing? Whatever it is, make sure that it is seen and at the forefront of your mind. The last and final thing that you need to do is to create deadlines and to create chunks. So you will already have a deadline for the work or task that you're doing right now. That's why you're procrastinating probably so much, because it's probably quite soon. But something that you should really try is to create imaginary deadlines. So for example, maybe you have an essay that's due in, but you could then make sure that you get half of it done today and then half of it done tomorrow. If it's in, for example, at the end of the week, that gives you time to then look over and make any changes. Maybe in the morning you will learn one section of your revision flashcards, and in the afternoon you will learn the second part. So something like this really makes sure that the task that you're doing at hand doesn't seem so big and it doesn't seem so scary anymore. You're setting deadlines as to when each bit needs to be done, and you're chunking it as well, so it's not just one big mammoth scary task anymore. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that this has been helpful for you. Procrastination is something that we all struggle with, but it's something that we should all just kind of accept, because we're always going to have procrastination in our lives. Our brain is always going to favour something that is going to be fun, that's going to give us that dopamine hit, that's going to make us feel good, and that's just something that we're going to always prioritise, well, our brain is, over the harder and more difficult task. But we can definitely train ourselves to kind of go towards that more difficult task, and by using some of these tips, that will certainly help you. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!